I remember walking into a dealership, completely overwhelmed by the sea of chrome. I ended up buying a bike that was way too heavy, twitchy, and honestly terrifying. It stalled constantly, and I spent more time scared than enjoying the open road. Choosing your first motorcycle is a minefield of bad advice and marketing hype that can easily ruin your riding experience before it even starts. That's exactly why I've spent months testing the top beginner motorcycles on the market to save you from making the same costly mistake I did. Today, we are counting down the top 7 absolute best beginner bikes available right now, but the number 1 spot might completely surprise you. 7. Triumph Trident 660. When I first approached the Triumph Trident, I was immediately struck by its stunning retro modern aesthetics. It looks incredibly premium, blending classic British roadster lines with contemporary touches like the round LED headlight and sleek, sculpted fuel tank. Sitting on it, the ergonomics feel compact and sporty, giving you a sense of being integrated into the machine rather than just perched clumsily on top of it. It certainly draws a crowd wherever you park it, making you feel like a seasoned rider from day one. Firing up the 660cc inline triple engine is an absolute auditory delight, producing a raspy, distinctive exhaust note that you simply won't find on standard twin-cylinder beginner bikes. On the open road, the power delivery is undeniably thrilling. It has a broad torque curve that pulls strongly from the mid-range all the way to the red line, making highway merging an absolute breeze. However, this is where the reality of beginner riding starts to inevitably clash with the Trident's more advanced capabilities. During my testing in heavy stop-and-go traffic, I found the throttle response to be surprisingly snatchy for a bike heavily marketed toward newer riders. The transition from a closed to an open throttle can be noticeably jerky, which is incredibly unnerving when you are still trying to master your slow-speed clutch control. Additionally, while the weight is managed beautifully at highway speeds, it feels noticeably top-heavy during parking lot maneuvers, making it highly intimidating for riders who haven't fully developed their balance yet. Despite these hurdles, the Trident 660 comes packed with excellent technology, including a beautiful TFT display and selectable riding modes, which offer a premium feel that is rare in the entry-level category. 6. Honda CRF300L. When I threw my leg over this dual sport, I instantly loved the rugged, go-anywhere styling. It strips away all the unnecessary fairings and easily broken plastic, leaving you with a durable, highly functional machine that practically begs to be taken off the beaten path and into the wilderness. Taking it out on gravel roads and mild trails was an absolute joy during my testing. The upgraded 286cc single-cylinder engine offers just enough punch to kick the rear end out playfully in the dirt while remaining entirely predictable and easy to manage. The long travel suspension eagerly soaked up every pothole, rock, and rut I could find, making it an incredibly plush ride on poorly maintained city streets as well. But this off-road prowess comes with some significant compromises when you transition back onto the pavement. The most glaring issue for absolute beginners is the sheer, towering height of this motorcycle. With a seat height pushing nearly 35 inches, even average-sized riders will find themselves uncomfortably on their tiptoes at red lights. This lack of a flat-footed stance can completely destroy a new rider's confidence when coming to a sudden stop. Furthermore, when I took the CRF300L on the highway, the lightweight chassis felt skittish at higher speeds, and the complete lack of wind protection meant I was constantly fighting the aerodynamic blast just to hold my lane steady. It is a brilliantly fun motorcycle if your primary goal is trail riding, camping, and exploring unpaved backroads. The legendary reliability of the Honda engine means you can practically beat it up in the woods all weekend, and it will still start up perfectly every single morning for your commute. 5. Yamaha YZF-R3. From the exact moment I parked this bike in my driveway, I was captivated by its highly aggressive R-Series styling. It genuinely looks like a much larger, track-ready supersport machine, complete with sharp aerodynamic fairings and a menacing dual headlight design that commands attention. If you dream of going to the track one day, this bike instantly fulfills that aesthetic fantasy without saddling you with terrifying supersport insurance premiums. Riding the R3 is where the magic truly happens. At its heart is a beautifully refined 321cc parallel twin engine that I found incredibly eager and delightfully rev-happy. Unlike the snatchy throttle I experienced on the Trident, the R3 delivers its power in a wonderfully smooth, linear fashion. It doesn't hit you with unexpected, scary bursts of torque. Instead, it gently encourages you to rev it out, making the entire learning process deeply exciting, but completely manageable for a new rider building their fundamental skills. What surprised me the absolute most during my test miles was the brilliant ergonomics. You would normally expect a bike that looks this aggressive to force you into a painful, hunched-over riding position. Instead, the clip-on handlebars are mounted relatively high, and the foot pegs are placed in a highly sensible, comfortable location. I was able to commute in heavy traffic for hours without experiencing the dreaded wrist ache or lower back pain typically associated with sport bikes, making it a surprisingly practical daily rider. When you finally push the R3 into the twisty corners, the lightweight chassis shines brilliantly. It changes direction with just a gentle push on the bars, feeling incredibly nimble and firmly planted to the road. It builds your cornering confidence perfectly, communicating exactly what the tires are doing without ever feeling nervous or unstable. Four, KTM 390 Duke. Visually, the Duke is incredibly striking, wearing its aggressive, angular street fighter styling like a proud badge of honor. The exposed trellis frame and signature bright orange accents make it stand out instantly in a sea of basic, muted beginner bikes. It looks mean, highly purposeful, and ready for action before you even put the key in the ignition. The overall performance of the 399cc single-cylinder engine is absolutely intoxicating. Firing it up, it has a distinct, thumping mechanical character that translates into massive, thrilling low-end torque. When I was navigating tightly packed city traffic, the Duke leaped away from stoplights with a joyful urgency that effortlessly left cars far behind. It feels significantly punchier than the parallel twins in its class, providing a thrilling, highly engaging ride that perfectly matches its hooligan aesthetic while remaining highly controllable for a learner. Technology is where the 390 Duke completely outclasses almost all of its direct competition. During my rides, I was continually impressed by the gorgeous full-color TFT display, which remains bright and easy to read even in direct, glaring sunlight. KTM also packed this beginner bike with premium rider aids, including lean angle-sensitive cornering ABS and a Supermoto mode, which allows you to safely slide the rear wheel if you are feeling a bit adventurous. This level of electronic sophistication is virtually unheard of in this entry-level price bracket. The handling of this motorcycle borders on telepathic, because it is so incredibly lightweight. Throwing the Duke into a sharp corner requires only the most minimal physical effort. The suspension is surprisingly firm and communicative, allowing you to confidently carry speed through sweeping corners with absolute, unwavering precision. Whether you are navigating gridlock urban environments or aggressively attacking a twisty mountain road, the KTM 390 Duke delivers an exhilarating, premium experience that easily secures its position higher on our list. 3. Yamaha MT-03. Aesthetically, the MT-03 boldly embraces the dark side of Japan design philosophy with its menacing, alien-like front headlight cluster and heavily muscular fuel tank. When I walked up to it, I absolutely loved how raw and wonderfully mechanical it looked. It presents a tough, naked bike image that is incredibly popular right now, and it pulls the look off flawlessly, because it seamlessly shares the exact same beloved 321cc parallel twin engine as the R3. The core performance is just as spectacular. However, the visceral feeling of speed is significantly amplified without the wind protection shielding you. Twisting the throttle delivers the exact same buttery smooth, highly predictable power delivery that is so incredibly crucial for newer riders. I found it exceptionally forgiving when I accidentally gave it a bit too much gas over bumps, yet it still possessed more than enough top-end rush to make highway overtaking a completely stress-free experience. The specific ergonomics of the MT-03 are exactly why I rate it notably higher than its sport bike sibling for absolute day one beginners. Yamaha replaced the low clip-ons with a beautifully wide, upright tubular handlebar. When I tested it in dense, unpredictable city traffic, this wide bar provided immense physical leverage, allowing me to flick the heavy bike around deep potholes and tight spaces with zero effort. The upright seating position also crucially gives you a commanding view of the road ahead, which is vital for spotting hazards early. Furthermore, the highly accessible low seat height and incredibly light, forgiving clutch pull make stop and go traffic an absolute breeze rather than a chore. You certainly won't outgrow the capabilities of this motorcycle in a mere matter of months. It offers a perfect, harmonious blend of aggressive styling, forgiving performance, and supreme daily comfort, making it an exceptional machine for learning the ropes and purely enjoying the ride long after you've mastered the basic fundamentals. 2. Honda Rebel 500. Aesthetically, the Rebel perfectly nails the highly sought-after modern bobber look with its fat, chunky tires, totally blacked-out components, and beautifully minimalist design. Sitting on it, I was immediately struck by how undeniably cool and laid-back it inherently feels. It flawlessly offers that classic cruiser attitude, but wisely ditches the excessive chrome and outdated technology for a sleek, highly contemporary vibe that appeals to riders of all ages. The absolute biggest selling point of the Rebel 500, and the precise reason it builds confidence faster than almost any other bike on the market, is the incredibly low 27.2-inch seat height. When I sat on it, both of my feet were planted firmly, completely flat on the ground with a deep, comfortable bend in my knees. For a nervous beginner, the ability to easily flat-foot the heavy motorcycle eliminates almost all the anxiety associated with stopping, balancing, and slowly maneuvering at low speeds. It essentially outright refuses to let you accidentally drop it. Powering this magnificent cruiser is Honda's legendary, highly proven 471cc parallel twin engine. During my long test rides, the engine proved to be an absolute masterpiece of smooth, completely predictable power. It chugs along happily and quietly at low RPMs around town, but unlike smaller, underpowered cruisers, it doesn't suddenly run out of breath when you hit the highway. I was able to comfortably cruise at 75 miles per hour with overtaking power to spare, meaning this is a bike that can handle real-world touring and long-distance commutes without breaking a single sweat. The Rebel 500 also massively benefits from Honda's legendary build quality and bulletproof reliability. The clutch lever pull is incredibly light, the center of gravity is wonderfully low, and the overall riding experience is utterly, refreshingly stress-free. 1. Kawasaki Ninja 500. Kawasaki basically took the legendary Ninja 400, a flawless bike that dominated the beginner class for years, and remarkably improved it in every conceivable way. When I first laid eyes on the new Ninja 500, I was entirely blown away by the sharp, highly aggressive, ZX-inspired styling. It fiercely looks like a high-performance track weapon, turning heads everywhere it goes. Yet it brilliantly hides a remarkably friendly, accessible personality underneath those stunning aerodynamic fairings. The undisputed star of the show is the newly developed, larger 451cc engine. Taking it out on the open road, the dramatic difference is immediately, wonderfully noticeable. Kawasaki specifically focused on boosting the low-end and mid-range torque, and it pays off beautifully. Leaving stoplights requires barely any throttle input, and rolling on the power to confidently pass cars on the highway is utterly effortless. You don't have to aggressively wring its neck to get moving. The smooth power is instantly available, making both slow city commuting and high-speed highway blasting incredibly enjoyable. One of the absolute most impressive features I discovered during my extensive testing was the brilliant assist and slipper clutch. The clutch lever pull is so incredibly light that you can literally operate it smoothly with just one single finger. This completely eliminates hand fatigue during painfully long rides in stop and go traffic. More importantly for learning beginners, if you accidentally downshift too aggressively, the slipper function miraculously prevents the rear wheel from dangerously locking up or skipping, acting as a crucial, potentially life-saving safety net while you are still mastering your gear management. The Ninja 500 flawlessly balances true sport bike thrills with undeniable real-world practicality. Despite the incredibly racy looks, the seating position is remarkably comfortable and surprisingly upright.